So we might have to discuss it a bit because I might say some things that you're already trying and it's not really working. The first thing, even though this sounds too simple, is to, I've sort of already said it, I'll just say it, is to ask yourself, so you know what dissatisfaction feels like, unpleasant. So then, can you ever ask yourself, what does satisfaction actually feel like without conditions, like without anything giving me satisfaction? If I just experiment with the idea of, or the feeling of satisfaction, if I was satisfied for no reason, then how would I feel? How does satisfaction feel? So have you tried that direct approach to, rather than looking for things to appreciate or feel good about, to actually kind of interrogate or ask yourself the question, or become friendly with the emotion just on a pure, unconditional emotional level? Have you ever tried to do it directly in that way? Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay. So, well, that's definitely the first thing to try, and just be very playful and light with it. Treat it as a game instead of. I guess it's worked for you with other things, so you could probably do it quite easily. But for anyone else listening, you don't have to make it a mission to feel a certain way. You just ask yourself, or you ask the universe, or you ask your inner being. That's really quite powerful. If you ask your soul almost, how does satisfaction feel? Or how would I feel if I was just satisfied for no reason? And let yourself kind of be taken into that energy, that feeling of satisfaction, until it becomes this energy that's not a result of anything happening. It's more like a bit more like a radio station, that you're just starting to realize that you can tune yourself to that radio station, that frequency. And that frequency is always there, but we're just in the habit of tuning ourselves elsewhere, or tuning ourselves or focusing on a less pleasant radio station, instead of giving ourselves the permission and the sense of allowance and safety to actually just go for that feeling directly. And there can be a lot of conditioning about a sense of satisfaction, like the idea that, well, if you're satisfied, then how can you possibly progress? How can you get more? How can you do anything else if you're satisfied? Because we're usually taught on the value of dissatisfaction, and that being the fuel for progress. But as most people sort of start to realize, actually, if your energy is fully dissatisfaction, it's a very stuck energy. It feels uninspired. It feels disempowered. It can work for a moment. You're dissatisfied with something, and then your attention shifts to what is satisfying or what you'd like to create, and that's what can happen with people. Really, the feeling of dissatisfaction is not by itself a very useful fuel for anything. Whereas the feeling of satisfaction, especially if it becomes unconditional, if you become friendly with it as a feeling and as an energy in itself, like just something that lives within you that can be accessed, then your energy completely shifts. You imagine two versions of yourself. One is satisfied, the other is dissatisfied, and they can be in the same position or living the same conditions in life. The satisfied one will far more easily naturally progress and expand, because it's just natural for them to do that. Whereas the dissatisfied one will be in dissatisfaction, straining to create more, or straining to bring in more money, or do something. It's a very struggling, disempowered energy. But the pure satisfaction is a much more attractive energy. First of all, someone who's satisfied, you just want to be around them much more. They're more pleasant to be around. Someone who's satisfied has more access to their broader mind and more inspired thinking. And obviously someone who's satisfied just enjoys life so much more, and actually has more energy for things. And in a sense of satisfaction, then a sense of enthusiasm or passion for something can arise, Whereas in a sense of dissatisfaction, if that dissatisfaction is strong, then there's not much space for kind of genius or inspiration to flow through. So yeah, it's definitely useful to realize for yourself that the dissatisfaction that we sometimes get conditioned to accepting as normal and effective to create more actually isn't really, it shouldn't be normal, and it isn't very effective in creating more. But everyone can find that out for themselves. So go for the feeling directly. Forget about the conditions that could create it. What you will also find is the more you become friendly with the energy itself, in your mind you'll start to see images. You'll start to have good images of yourself doing things or enjoying things or creating things or things coming to you. But always remember that the feeling comes first. Stay with the feeling, because the feeling empowers the thoughts. The feeling empowers your actions. And if you become very friendly with that feeling itself of satisfaction, how would it feel if I was satisfied? It's like it can feel like a relief. It can feel like you just want to take a breath and feel good and let yourself off the hook. And then in that space, there's space for just inspired action if it's even necessary. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But either way, you're feeling good, and on an energetic level, you just become more attractive to things that are in alignment with satisfaction.